This is John Beath with Let's Talk Outdoors and Go Fish Magazine. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. It's Media Day, and it's the 2014 Bassmaster Classic. I am so privileged to be on Kevin VanDam's boat. Welcome, Kevin.
Man, I'm glad to be here. It's a real pleasure because, being from Michigan, normally I'm not going to be outside like this, dressed like this, or we haven't had that all winter, so it's a really nice day today for Media Day.
Well, Kevin, you have quite the history. You've been the Angler of the Year many times. Is it 6 or 7?
7 times now.
Well, 7's a lucky number. I know you're shooting for 8,
yeah.
And you've won this title many times. You've won over $5 million. If you could offer a piece of advice to the guy at home or the gal at home or the kid on how to catch more fish, what would you tell them?
Well, the biggest thing is being able to spend time on the water. The more time you can get out there on the water, obviously the better your chances, the more you're going to learn. Just like us this week. The weather changes a little bit every day, conditions change. Each time of the year, things are a little bit different. Every time you go out there, you're going to learn something new. So, the biggest thing is go out there with an open mind, fish with as many different people as you can because, you're going to learn something from every different angler you fish with.
One thing I like to do, if I go to waters I'm not familiar with, I try to find one of the old guys that's been on the lake forever.
A lot of experience
and
there.
Ask him, what he does. Do you do anything like that on the pre-fish?
I really don't, and I try not to. I mean, for a casual angler, that's a great way to learn. But for myself, I just don't fish like most other people, and to, do it in a competition the way we have to do, we've got to kind of think outside the box. A lot of times do some things differently. So I try not to have any preconceived notions and just go out there with an open mind and figure things out on my own, and put the patterns together based on the current conditions and the seasonal patterns and things like that. But, nowadays with the internet, you can find a lot of great, information ahead of time. So if you're planning a vacation or a weekend trip, there's a lot of resources that you can learn about a lake. Even if it's a place you've been quite a few times, you can find out what the current conditions are, the water temperature, the trends that have been out there, and it gives you a great starting point that way.
Yes. Now, I understand as a pro bass angler, it's kind of tough on your love life. Now, you've been married for many years and have a super supportive wife in Sherry. Tell me a little bit about your wife and how that support has helped you to be a better angler.
Well, it's one of those things that I don't think either of us really knew that much about what it would be like to be a professional angler, when we first started out. But we've both kind of grown and learned into it, and she's basically a business manager for me. So she manages a lot of the day-to-day communications, emails, and things like that with sponsors, requests, a lot of media requests and things like that, and she's a full-time mom on top of that. So, it's something that we've learned to balance, and it's getting to the point, our sport is growing to the point where it's almost more than 2 full-time jobs for the two of us now. So we try to get a little help in some other fronts. If you don't know something, you talk to people that are experts at it. So that's kind of the same thing in fishing is, if you're not sure about a new lure or new technique, it's a great idea to go talk to somebody that's really good at it. So we've learned, and over the 24 years that we've been doing it, that a lot of the things we have to do on our own, but it's also it's all important to be cutting edge and keep up with technology and things. It's just like right now I have all this GoPros on my boat. That's the latest thing for people to get an inside look at what I do every day.
That's great. Now let's talk a little bit about your kids, your boys. Are they going to be pro bass anglers or go in a different direction?
They love the outdoors, but they're not, in my mind, competitive, or they don't like to fish competitively. We fish 1 or 2 tournaments a year together through the summer, but they seem to be a little more right now into hunting than fishing, which is great. I mean, the big thing to me is they definitely have the passion for the outdoors that I do, and if they wanted to be a pro angler, I would definitely support them. But at this point right now, it seems like they have other interests.
That's really cool. Do you have any advice for that person sitting at home saying, I want to be Kevin VanDam? I mean, when you say that, that's like saying, I want to be Superman.
Well, the biggest thing that young anglers need to know these days is that fishing is become a business, and you have to really look at it that way. And an education is just as important. Getting a good college education is just as important as learning fishing skills and learning how to catch bass on the water. So, I mean, you look around here today and you see all different types of boats wrapped with sponsors from all different walks of life and all different types of corporations, and you just can't compete at the top level without sponsors. And it's pretty much true in any sport, you know, whether it's an NFL team, they have sponsors of the stadium and the team and things like that that helps pay for the players' salaries. And in NASCAR, it's the same way. So in fishing, you have to treat it as a business because it's an expensive sport. I mean, you look at what you have just wrapped up in your equipment. So it's hard to get started in it, but I'll say this, is the opportunities have never been better than they are right now for young anglers.
It's a fun sport. I'll tell you what, I would rather be out there bass fishing than going around a track at 180 or 200 miles an hour. I haven't heard of too many bass injuries, maybe a cut finger. But, hey, I really do appreciate you being on Go Fish and Let's Talk Outdoors.
Hey, man, I've had a blast, and hopefully the Classic will be an awesome one to remember.
All right, for Go Fish Magazine and Let's Talk Outdoors, my name is John Beath. For more information about Kevin VanDam, here's his web address right here. Hope to see you next week on our other videos.